Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this EBSCOhost Advanced Search Strategies for Idaho Commission for Libraries. My name is Shayna, and I am a Senior Customer Training Specialist with EBSCO. Very happy to be presenting today. And we do have an agenda. We're going to cover some advanced search features when utilizing the EBSCOhost interface. Topics that we'll cover include search tips, advanced keyword search and subject search, utilizing our limiters and facets and filters to refine search results and focus your results. We'll also talk about utilizing the publication search, which is a title level search, creating search alerts and journal alerts, and organizing our research into personal MyEBSCO folders so we can access those resources at a later date. The objectives for this session are that by the end, you will know how to utilize advanced search techniques to locate resources. You'll know how to refine your search results, organize your search results, locate training and promotional tools, and get help at our support site, which is EBSCO Connect. EBSCO Connect is a very easy URL to remember. It's connect.ebsco.com. It's a publicly accessible website where you can get help for all of your EBSCO resources. So if you're interested in learning more about advanced search strategies, you can enter advanced search on the EBSCO Connect search box on that landing page. And our knowledge base of related articles, videos, resources will be presented. So in addition to that knowledge base, you can also access our full complement of promotional tools on EBSCO Connect. So before I get started with my live demonstration in the EBSCOhost interface, the classic interface, I just wanted to cover a few generally known topics regarding advanced search. Some things you may utilize, not necessarily needed in order to conduct search that will deliver relevant search results because of our technology. But just to cover some of the basics, we do utilize Boolean operators. So the operators are and, or, and not. Of course, and when utilizing that with the keyword search will deliver search results that contain both search terms. Using the or as a Boolean operator, and just keeping in mind when utilizing this, you'll need to use the all caps feature of those Boolean operators and, or not. So when utilizing or with two words, we'll retrieve references or resources containing either search term. And using not is a limiter. Well, it allows you to limit certain terms from your search results. Okay, so Boolean operators are part of our advanced search features. Then we also have wildcards and truncation. Not as popular, but I can send links to information on this if you'd like to utilize wildcards and truncation. I've got the most popular ones here. Adding an asterisk allows you to truncate a word using the stem, and then it will retrieve all related terms. So in this example, dyslexia with the asterisk will retrieve dyslexia and dyslexic. Utilizing a question mark in the middle of a word as a wildcard will retrieve different spellings of the word. So if you're looking for the word organization, it will retrieve organization spelling with an S as well as with a Z. And multiple character wildcards. The tool is the hash icon, and that will also deliver color with an O, or color with color with an OU, I should say. Then quotation marks around phrases will retrieve the exact phrase in the way in which it is typed in that order. Okay, so I have some follow-up hyperlinks to articles on Connect for wildcards and truncation and Boolean operators that I will share. One thing I want to note regarding advanced search when you're utilizing the advanced search screen is that an unqualified search, when we talk about unqualified searches, we are referring to keyword searches when you enter a keyword in the search box where you do not qualify your search with a field code. So when performing a search in our databases, the default fields that are searched include authors, subject terms, keywords, title, as well as the abstract. And in the case where there is no abstract for a record, then the first 1,500 characters of the full text of the HTML article of that record would be searched. Okay. Now, in terms of some advanced search strategies, we have things that you should be thinking of, when conducting research, starting with thinking about how you want to structure your search, utilizing keyword phrases, truncation, or Boolean operators. And then once you execute your search, utilizing our facets to refine your search results. Then you'll want to browse those search results looking for full text resources, custom link outs to other websites for that full text to retrieve. And then if you are interested in saving your research within EBSCOhost interfaces, you can collect those articles in the My EBSCO account to access it beyond your session. So beyond the time when you are conducting research, if you want to retrieve that information next week or next year or next 5 years from now, as long as Idaho has an account with EBSCO, then your patrons will have access to their personal My EBSCO accounts. We'll also talk about the ability to save your searches, as well as saving your journals that you look up to be alerted when new resources become available within EBSCOhost interfaces. So there are some additional, there's a tutorial here actually that talks about advanced search strategies that I will also send a link to today. All right, so let's exit out of this. And I'm going to start by clicking over to the lily.org site just to cover where you can access these resources. Now, you may have direct links on your library's website, but on the lily.org site, as you scroll down the landing page, you'll see EBSCOhost as one of the popular databases with which you can conduct research. Also, and when you click that, that will bring you to if you are not authenticated on site, you will have to complete the request here, requesting your zip code in your city to access these resources. We also have access to resources on lilyschools.org. Imagine for high school students who are conducting advanced search, there are some resources. So I actually clicked the 9 through 12 tab there, which brought me to the databases for conducting research. And you will see that for your high school students, we have the EBSCOhost interface where they can search the database MAS Ultra. So just some different ways in which your patrons, your students can conduct research. I'm going to actually log in. I've actually already logged in because I'm not an Idaho resident. I had to go through the back door. So let's just pretend that I authenticated as a Lily user, whether I'm on site at a library or through the remote access. And then I will choose a database. So once I selected the EBSCOhost interface, it brings me to a page where I can select databases with which to search. I'm going to choose a few. I'm going to choose Academic Search Premier here. I'll also choose the ebook collection for EBSCO resources. I'll also choose, maybe I'll want to search Greenfile, which is an environmental database. Let's see, what else am I interested in? Now you can search one or many or all of these databases. There goes that MAS Ultra for the high school students. I'll include that as well. And also include Masterfile Premier, which is a database for public libraries. Let's see if there's anything else I want to choose here. I'll also choose Newspaper Source Plus. I think I have enough, but this just shows you that you can select particular databases to search. So if you are, for instance, only interested in retrieving search results that are newspaper articles, then maybe you'll want to choose the Newspaper Source Plus exclusively. But I've selected a nice collection of databases to search. At the bottom or at the top, I can go ahead and click continue, and then it's going to load those databases to my EBSCOhost interface, where I can see that I'm searching all of those databases that I selected here right above my search box. And we are on the lily.org version of EBSCOhost. So the default search page for lily.org users is the advanced search screen. So we're looking at the multiple or the guided style search boxes for conducting research. We can click back over to the basic search or to search history, which will track your search activity. Just wanting to point out that it starts off here when accessing through this interface on the advanced search screen. Within the advanced search screen, in addition to the multiple search boxes for your keywords, you can qualify those keywords by selecting a field code. So we'll demonstrate that in a minute. You can also include additional words or phrases and then join them with those Boolean operators like and, or not. And then once you've chosen the words, the phrases, and selected your field codes or your Boolean operators, then you can execute your search. Below that, you'll find some search options that you can select prior to executing a search, just to make the search more refined from the outset. So here you can change your search mode. You can also choose to search within the full text of your articles. You can limit your search results to full text or peer-reviewed references available. You can specify the publication date or a range. You have a number of special limiters for those databases that I selected. So for instance, for the primary search database, which is for your primary students, you can select a Lexile reading level to identify appropriate reading complexity for your users. The lower the reading Lexile range, the easier the reading difficulty. You can also select different limiters for Academic Search Premier, for instance, by publication type. We have some special limiters for the ebook collection. Once again, the Lexile range is indicated there. We have additional limiters for Green File, Moss Ultra, whatever databases you select. If there are special limiters, they will be available for you to pre-select prior to executing your search. So that's advanced search, but I'm going to start at the beginning with a basic search. So I'm going to click basic search and it will show you that it brings you to a more simple interface. So if you have any patrons who may be a little overwhelmed by the advanced search screen, take them to the basic search, okay? So it just provides that one search box where they can enter any word to find a book, a journal, article, or what have you. You don't see the additional options below that search box. So I'm going to start with a basic search here. Maybe I will do a search on mindful meditation. Notice that there are some suggestions that are presented to me, an auto suggest feature, which helps users get to the research they need quicker, especially for users who may struggle with spelling. So if you choose one from the selected auto suggestions, I should say, it will automatically execute your search. I didn't even have to hit that search box. So it brings me to my search results for mindful meditation, of which there are 720 search results within those databases that I chose. All right, so we do have a number. As we scroll through this list, we see our search results. The first one is an ebook. The second one is an ebook. It's actually heavily weighting the ebooks. What I want to do is refine my search because I don't want to scroll through 720 of anything. Notice, however, that I have the option to change my sort here. It's automatically by default being sorted by relevance based on the keywords I enter. But if I'm interested in quickly seeing the most recently published resources, I can change that sort to date newest. But let's go over and take a look at our refine results column over on the left. For the 720 search results, I can refine. Notice that there are some default settings that are already selected. So it's automatically ending my search for the keyword mindful meditation. So it's looking for mindful and meditation. And then we can see the expanders that have already been applied, related words, equivalent subjects, and it's automatically limiting by full text. So you can see how that full text limiter is automatically selected. So maybe I'm interested in a more recently published resources. Notice that the earliest search result within my search results set was published in 1996. Let's say maybe I'm only interested in articles published within the last, let's say, 10 years. I can change the date in that from box, or I can just move the publication date slider to 2013. I'll click enter to update my search results, and it brings me down to 571. Scrolling down the list, maybe I'm only interested in news articles, of which there are 242, or magazines or academic journals. There are more source types here. If I click show more, that brings me to a screen where I can multiple select different source types. So maybe I'll choose news and academic journals and magazines. I'll exclude ebooks. So I'll go ahead and update my results. And that brings me down to 440 search results. So you can see how utilizing the options, the limiters, the facets over here on the left allow you to refine your search results. Additional facets here, we can take a look at the subject terms. The Lexile range is indicated here as well. Maybe I'm interested in articles published within a particular publication. The publications within my search results set are listed here. Maybe I'm interested only in the articles published in time.com. There are 15. Notice the 15 in which is the hit count for the resources in my search results set. We can limit by language. For instance, maybe I'm only interested in articles published in English. Luckily, my search results set, all of them are in English. And then we can also choose the particular databases. So maybe I'm interested in mindful meditation within the databases in Academic Search Premier, for instance. So those are your search results options. That's a basic search. Let's quickly take a look at our options here. As we scroll down, we can see the title, some publishing information, subject headings. If I place my cursor over the magnifying glass, that gives me a window into the metadata, top layer of metadata. I can take a look at the abstract, which is a summary of the article prior to accessing the full text. I can see if this is something that I'm interested in reading. Then if it is, I can access the full text, or I can add it to a temporary folder. Notice how that folder was once blue, now it's yellow because I've added it. I've reviewed the abstract. I think this is a relevant article for my research, so I'll continue to move on. Let's take a look at the second resource here, an academic journal. There goes the title. I have two different full text viewing options, HTML and full text. Let's take a look at the two differences quickly. We've got HTML and PDF full text. The PDF is going to show you the article and the way in which it was published, complete with formatting and imagery. We have our tools on the left that allow us to link or utilize our integrations with Google Classroom and Drive and OneDrive. We have the ability to save this article to a folder. We can access the permalink or persistent link to this article. If we wanted to share it with a colleague or a patron or a student. We have all the tools over here on the left. I'm sorry, on the right. Over on the left for PDFs, notice that in addition to seeing this particular article, we can see that the source is the American Journal of Health System Pharmacy, dated December 1st, 2022. I can also see additional articles published within that issue. Maybe I'm interested in another article. Let's see. Maybe there's an article here, Women in Pharmacy, that I can actually click to, and that will load that article. Okay. I can also see another issue for the American Journal of Health System Pharmacy. Choosing the year will expose the different issues available for me, and I can load those as well. So that's the PDF view. Let's go back to our result list. And we were taking a look at the second search result. So I'll now take a look at the HTML version of the same article. And now it's going to just provide the full text stripped of any formatting and imagery. This is a great accessibility feature. The other benefit of the HTML is that it allows you to have the article read aloud. There's a little listen play button here. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that.
Exploring the effects of a smartphone-based meditation app on stress.
All right, so that's just a quick view of the HTML feature. Another benefit of the HTML version of this full text article is that it allows you to change the language to read. So you have more than 30 languages depicted here. You can choose a language and automatically have it translated for your reading pleasure. Okay, so if you may be literate in terms of speaking a language, but in reading, maybe you prefer to read it in your native language. So that's a great feature there. One note, I know everyone asks, once you choose a language to have the article translated to, would it also read that article aloud in that language? It does not. It only will translate or read aloud in English. So those are your two options. Let's go back to our landing page. Just wanted to quickly demonstrate conducting a basic search, utilizing limiters and facets to refine our search result. So now let's take a look at advanced search. I clicked new search to bring you back to the landing page on that advanced search page. So let's now start with search. I'm going to enter a different topic. Before I do that, let me just quickly check and see if we have any questions. Feel free to ask anything live or enter it in the chat. If I'm moving too quickly, just let me know. If there's something you want me to spend more time on, also let me know. So on the advanced search page, I'm going to enter something different. I'm going to do a search for organic gardening. All right, so I'll go ahead and enter that. That is my first phrase. And notice I can use a field code to qualify my search. Otherwise, it's just looking at conducting that keyword search in the top layer of metadata. But maybe I want to find that term organic gardening only in the title of a resource or in the subject term. So I've got many options here. I'm not going to utilize that yet. What I am going to do is enter another term here, and maybe I'm interested in organic gardening, but not hydroponic gardening. So I'll go ahead and choose hydroponic, and I'll choose that Boolean operator not. So I'm looking for anything with organic gardening, excluding anything that pertains to hydroponic gardening. Okay, so those are my terms. I can go down here and select a few search modes. I'm going to limit to full text. I'm going to maybe just enter the last 10 years. I don't have to enter an end year. It will bring me to the current or most recently published resources unless I want to only search for something between maybe 2013 and 2018. That's when I would enter an end year. That's optional. Otherwise, it'll just take you to the present day. And I think that's all I'm going to choose. I'm not going to bother with any of these special limiters here. So let's go ahead and execute that search for organic gardening, not hydroponic gardening, full text, 2013. It brings me to over 4,000 search results. Similar layout, all of our search results are listed here. We can take a quick look at the abstract. You get a summary of the article. We can refine our 4,138 search results utilizing these limiters and facets over on the left. I won't bother to demonstrate that for time's sake, but I want to talk to you about the option to utilize some field codes. So notice how not selecting a field code or qualifying our keywords with field codes produces 4,138 search results. So maybe I'm, in this case, now interested in organic gardening, maybe within the title of a resource. Let's go ahead and update those search results. And that brings me down from 4,138 to 129. Okay, so utilizing your field codes quickly allows you to refine your search. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get to subject search. I'm not going to bother to. Actually, let me go ahead and. No, I'm going to go ahead and do a subject search in a different way. So that's just one way to utilize the advanced search screen, utilizing your field codes, your Boolean operators, and then, of course, within your search results, refining further. All right, so I'm going to clear that. I'll click New Search. And this time, let's see. We have additional search options. In the blue bar at the top, running horizontally across our screen, we have subject searching, we have publication search, we have image search. All right, so there are different ways you can conduct research. I'm going to now talk about subject headings. When we conduct searches in the keyword search box here, we're looking for words as they appear in the top layer of metadata. So let me go back to, I'll just do climate change again. We'll click. And we have not qualified this with a field code. When we click search, it's looking for climate change, our keyword, in the top layer of metadata. So if it appears in the title, if it appears in the abstract or the subject headings, then it will be delivered. Top layer of metadata includes everything depicted here: title, author, subjects, abstract, okay? When you conduct a subject search, and we'll click new search here to clear this, you're going to conduct a search for a word as it's indexed by our professional catalogers, or those within the databases that how we've indexed that term within a database. All right, so we'll have to first choose a database to conduct a subject search. Since we're conducting a search for climate change, maybe I'll use the Green Thesaurus, which is an environmental database. So now I'm going to choose the Green Thesaurus. When I do that, it tells me that I'm browsing the Green Thesaurus, and this is where I will then enter my term, climate change. And I'm conducting a thesaurus search. Term begins with is an option, or term contains, or I can go to relevancy ranked. The default is term begins with, and then I can browse the Green Thesaurus for climate change. That brings me to the list of related topics or subject headings. So we can see that climate change is indexed in the Green Thesaurus as I typed it. We see some related topics like climate change dating or climate change forecasts. Each is a hyperlink, which will give you more information about that subject heading. Notice that some of these have the option to explode. There's a little tick box for explode. I'll explain what that means by clicking on the title, climate change. That brings me to all of the related terms for climate change, including the broader term, which is climatology, the narrower terms, which include climate change feedback or effects of climate on biodiversity, and related terms. It also tells you what the term climate change is used for. So it gives you a lot of details regarding this indexed term. What I can do is, if I wanted to explode climate change, what it will do is include all of the narrower terms in my search. So let me go ahead and explode climate change. And I'm going to OR those terms. So if I click add, I can either OR and or not those terms. All right, so if I click OR, it will greatly expand my search to include all of those narrower terms. If I click add, notice how all of those narrower terms are now built into my search. That's going to provide a lot of search results. So maybe that's not what I want to do, but I just wanted to show you how utilizing the explode feature can greatly expand your search. You don't have to use the explode feature. If you do, it will build your search, and then when you execute your search, it will be more relevant because now it's taking a look at how climate change is indexed within the database green file. The idea here is that it is a more refined search because it's taking a look at how it's indexed versus taking a look at the keywords, which may or may not be ultimately related to the article that's retrieved. Hopefully that makes sense. This search, including all terms, narrower terms for climate change, produced over 272,000, but that is because I built a very extensive search query here. Okay. Let me pause here and see if we have any questions. That was a lot. Let me go back to, I'm going to actually go back to our advanced search screen here. Actually, I want to clear my search. I'll click new search to clear it. And maybe I will choose another topic here with an advanced search. Maybe this time we'll do subject search utilizing Academic Search Premier in this case. So now we're browsing subject terms for Academic Search Premier. Maybe this time I'm interested in more a newer term, ChatGPT. May or may not be. Actually, that probably is not indexed. Well, let's see. It's a very recent term, but let's see if it's indexed within Academic Search Premier. It is. So here we go. ChatGPT. Let's click it. All right. So it gives you the scope. The broader terms, chatbots. Related terms, language models. All right. So there are no narrower terms. I can include language models, a related term if I want, but I will actually add those two. Let's see if that is helpful. I'll click add. So now it's building ChatGPT and, oops. Let me clear that and start over again. All right, so we'll do ChatGPT. And then we'll include language models, and we'll add that to our search. All right, so here we go, ChatGPT and language models. Let's conduct a search. And that provides 548 search results utilizing the subject term. So ChatGPT and language models should be really related to the articles that are delivered. They're just not appearing in the articles as keywords, but they're actually relevant to the article because the subject heading, it's indexed within that Academic Search Premier database. All right, so that is advanced search, subject headings. Now let's talk about publication search. I'm going to go ahead and click new search, clearing my search. And we'll move over to the publications search. So everything I've conducted until this moment has been at the article level. I've conducted research for articles based on my keywords or my subject terms or headings. Now I'm interested in taking a look at the title level. I'm looking for particular publications that are that make up the databases that I've selected. So I'll first need, once again, to choose a database, Academic Search Premier, Green File, MOS, Ultra, Master File, what have you. I'll go ahead and choose Master File Premier this time. And so now I'm browsing publications within Master File Premier. I have an alphabetical search. Those alphabetical publications are listed here. I can search by subject and description with that radio button, or I can match any words. I can also toggle through the alphabetical listing here or enter a term. So maybe I'm interested in searching for a publication called the Congressional, I think it's Congressional Digest. Let's see. And I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and just browse, but I do think it's Congressional Digest. And yes, it is Congressional Digest. So if you don't know the full title, you can enter something and it will provide all the matches. So Congressional Digest happens to be one. Then there's Congressional Quarterly and related topics here. But Congressional Digest is the publication I'm interested in. It gives me a few details. I have access to bibliographic records from 1921 to the present, as well as full text articles from 1921 to the present for this publication, Congressional Digest. It also lets me know that it is available for viewing in PDF. If I want more details on Congressional Digest, I can click the hyperlink, which will take me to the publication details page for Congressional Digest, which gives me even more information. It gives me the publisher information. The bibliographic records and full text records are presented here as well. The description, the publisher's URL, the frequency of the publication are all presented. Over to the right, I can access all issues, the most recent issues for 2024, dating back to our publication for full text access down to 1921. I can expand any year to see the issues available. So in 1921, there were 3 issues available. I can review the PDF for those issues. That would be interesting. Let's actually take a look at volume 1, issue 3. It's going to run a search on all articles published within that issue. So now we're taking a look at one of the first articles published within that publication, the Towner Sterling Bill. We can get some information about this. We can access the PDF. Let's quickly see what this looks like from 1921. And there we go. We're taking a look at this article. Okay, so that is one way in which to utilize the publication finder. Let me click back to the publication details, just clicking back to that page. So that was the issues and articles option on the publication details page. We also have the ability to search within this publication with the search within publication hyperlink right above the publication details for Congressional Digest. Clicking search within will do that. And what that will do is load the journal, in quotes, Congressional Digest, and now I can search within this journal for a particular title, or I'm sorry, keyword. So maybe I'm interested in Congressional Digest and maybe, once again, climate change, since that was one of my searches. So we are on the advanced search screen now. It pulled us back in. I'm looking for Journal Congressional Digest and climate change. I can qualify this if I was interested in climate change as it appears in the title of an article for Congressional Digest, or maybe the subject terms or what have you, but I'll just stick with climate change. I can once again utilize some limiters, limit to full text, references available. Maybe I'm only interested in articles published, since this goes back to 2021, maybe I'm only interested in articles published more recently, maybe within the last 3 years. Let's see what results. All right, so I'll go ahead and click search. And that gives me 9 articles within Congressional Digest related to climate change. Okay. Let me pause here and see if we have any questions. All right, so now I'm taking a look at some articles, and maybe I am interested in the first 3 articles. So I'm just going to click that blue folder. I'll click another one. Notice it changes to yellow. That means that those articles are now available in my folder. So in the top blue navigation where you see folder, if we click that, it will track all of the articles that I've saved through my search history, searches, the queries that I've conducted. And we can see that there are 5 articles for today, and those articles are listed here. Had I conducted a search for images or videos or ebooks, those would automatically be organized by these main categories, but we only researched and saved articles. So it's bringing me to these articles. If I wanted to save these results in my folder long-term, I would have to sign in to my personal EBSCO account. I'm not going to sign in. I'm just going to show you that it does give you a link to sign up if you don't have an account. If you do have an account, you'll provide your credentials and click sign in. All right, and doing so will give you the ability to access everything in your folder long-term, whether you access it tomorrow, next week, next year, as long as Idaho Commission for Libraries has a subscription to EBSCO, then your patrons can enjoy access to their personal My EBSCO folder for resources that they save. All right, so you can see here on the folder page, it does let you know that to store these items for future use, sign into My EBSCO. Otherwise, just for the session, as a patron moves through and conducts research, those articles would be saved on the folder link here. All right, let's click back to new search. I actually wanted to go back into publication search and show you one other thing. We were on master file. I think I can, let's go back to Congressional Digest, right? Actually, let's try something different. Let's try time indexed here. So we'll go ahead and look for articles. I'm sorry, for publications. Maybe I'm interested in time for kids, right? Let's say I'm an educator and I want access to time for kids for grades 5 through 6. Notice that each of the publications have this orange box to the right of the title. Okay, so let's take a look at Time for Kids, just quickly run through the publication details. I do once again have access to issues from 2012 to 2020. I can search within this publication for particular articles. Let's actually, oops, let me go back there. That one is not going to give me most recent because the full text, oh, it is to present. So let's go and yeah, full text available to the present. All right, so now what I can do is create a journal alert. So if I want to be alerted when the most recent issue becomes available within EBSCOhost, I can click that orange box and create a journal alert, which allows me to, once I'm signed in to my EBSCO, create an alert to be emailed whenever the latest issue is available. So it's like getting a reminder or a notification that, hey, the newest issue of Time for Kids is available for you and your students. So that is where you do that. You can provide your information when signed in, create that alert, and then click Save Alert. All right, we'll cancel that. So that's what that orange icon is for publications alerts. Let me click back to the new search. I also want to show you about search history and creating search alerts. So we've conducted a lot of searches today. I'm going to go into the search history link here. It shows me every search, every query that I've conducted or executed today. So we did a search for the Congressional Digest publication and articles related to climate change. We can see the limiters and the expanders and search terms we've employed. We can view the search results, view the details, or edit our search query, and everything else we've done. Extensive subject search for all of the narrower headings under climate change. That's also depicted here. We can review all results, view the details, or edit. Notice that next to each of these queries is another orange box. All right, so let's see. Maybe I'm interested in the more recently published articles regarding ChatGPT and language models. I'll go ahead and click that orange box. And this is where I can create what is called a search alert to be notified whenever new articles based on my query become available in EBSCOhost. So similar to a journal alert to be alerted when the new issue is available, a search alert will alert me of any new resources that become available based on my query. Here I can set the frequency to be emailed or alerted daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly for articles published within a year, the last 6 months, 2 months, or no limit. Once again, I would need to be signed in to my EBSCO to create that alert, and then I would just click Save. So those are some great resources in advanced search. I'll go ahead and exit out of this. And that brings us to time. So let me click back to the new search, clear my search, see if we have any questions or comments or requests prior to ending today's session. All right, I don't see anything in the chat. Let me go ahead and stop the recording and see if anyone wants to ask a question off of the recording. If you are ready to go, you can go ahead and log out. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and then open up the Q&A before we end today's session. Before I do that, though, let me quickly go to EBSCO Connect. I did promise to show you where you can access resources on EBSCO Connect. Connect.ebsco.com is the URL. It's a very easy URL to remember. It brings you to this landing page which says, hello, how can we help? So if you're interested in learning more about advanced search topics, I'm going to just type advanced search and I'll click go. It brings me to our knowledge base of articles, videos. There is that link to the EBSCOhost Advanced Search Tips and Tricks video that I can share a link with. We also have an article on advanced search in other databases like Explora. So this is a great resource to get more information about any topic related to your EBSCO resources. Back on the homepage for EBSCO Connect, you can also access learning resources on the Learning tab. That brings you to my department's page for all things training. It's called EBSCO Academy. You can watch a video, browse our collection of videos, discover a learning path. You would need to be signed in or create an EBSCO Connect account to discover deep dive learning resources. You can also find upcoming live sessions or watch recorded trainings, all on EBSCO Connect. All right, so let me click back into the EBSCOhost interface. It looks like we may have a question here. Oh, just a comment. Thanks, Megan. I'm glad that this was helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we'll see if anyone has another question to ask. Thanks for joining, though.